Let's discuss with Democratic Congressman Jim Himes of Connecticut. He's the ranking member on the House Intelligence Committee. Congressman, I do want to ask you about Ukraine in just a moment. We'll get to that, but I'm not sure how much you've worked on this Turks and Caicos issue, but what's your response to this American getting a suspended sentence? I know there's been a lot of congressional activity on this. A lot of your colleagues up on the Hill have been working on this. Your thoughts, if you have any.
Well, yeah, Jim, not exactly my area of expertise, but in as much as I am an expert on this, my view is if you're going to get on an airplane and go somewhere else, make sure there's no firearms and ammunition in your luggage. How hard is that, right? Yeah. Now, I'm sure this somehow gets wrapped up in the whole gun debate. And, you know, obviously, anytime we have an American citizen who is in jeopardy abroad, we care about it. But come on, folks, make sure you don't have ammunition or firearms and stuff you're trying to move across international borders.
All right, fair enough. Let me ask you about what's taking place in Ukraine right now with these Russian advances. You are the ranking member on the House Intelligence Committee. How concerned should Americans be right now about whether or not the Russians are turning the tide there in Ukraine? The Ukrainians have been waiting for a long time. They have been waiting for a long time to get that aid from the U.S. and other countries. It's finally starting to trickle in. Your thoughts on that?
Yeah, well, Jim, I mean, it's horrifying in the sense that we're seeing the effects now of the 6-month unconscionable delay that the Congress took in providing the weapons that Ukraine needs to win this war. And of course, you know, weapons can't magically appear on the Ukrainian battlefield overnight. So while I'm delighted that the Speaker finally did the right thing and we got the $60 billion in aid, we're in that period right now where an awful lot of aid is on its way. That doesn't do anything for Ukrainians on the front line. Meanwhile, the Russians have sort of learned from their catastrophic mistakes of the early days, and so they're getting better. The Chinese and the Indians continue to buy their energy, so, you know, their economy is doing just fine. And so what's the answer? The answer is we should never again let a gap in our aid to Ukraine appear. And as you probably know, Jim, I've been sort of part of a group of members of Congress who've been urging the White House to lift some of the strictures that exist on the use of American weapons. You know, And I understand that the president has to really factor in the possibility of what Russia could do if they were really losing. But the problem is that's not a question right now because they're not really losing. So I think we need to get more aggressive, both in terms of what we supply and the rules that we put on the use of the weapons that we send there.
And I did want to ask you about former President Donald Trump and what he has been claiming within the last day or so, that Russia will release the Wall Street Journal reporter Evan Gershkovich within 24 hours if he wins this November. Let's listen to this and talk about it on the other side.
I will get him out very fast. Hopefully he'll be home before that. But if he's not, I'll have him out within 24 hours.
Because you're not a negotiator.
No, I'm not going to pay anything for it. You can't pay. Anybody can pay, but you can't pay. Once you pay, you're going to have to pay for everybody. President Putin respects me, and he's going to come out. He's going to come out within 24 hours.
Congressman, what's your response to that?
So, Jim, the headline is that Donald Trump believes he can fix those all very difficult problems instantly. Not news, Jim. I am old enough to remember when Donald Trump said that he would build his wall from sea to shining sea and Mexico would pay for it. Didn't happen, right? So, look, you know, I think this is yet another example of Donald Trump's grandiose self-opinion, but, you know, not a surprise.
All right, Congressman Jim Himes.